Hello and welcome to the Claret and Blue podcast post-match reaction for Villa's victory in the Europa League against Maccabi Tel Aviv at Villa Park. Matt, how's things? You okay?
I'm all right, yeah. Just got back. All the noise surrounding the match. Actually, a football match threatened to break out at some stage, and Villa got the job done.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah, it's. I think it was in my mind. It probably made it a little bit harder than we needed to. I think that we probably gave them a bit of encouragement early on when we probably should have gone at it a bit sooner and a bit sharper. But ultimately, it was. What's that? 3 out of 4 wins in the Europa League now. We seem, I don't want to jinx it, and I know that we kind of stunk the place out with the result at Go Ahead Eagles, but we seem to have a good foothold in this competition. It's not the challenge that the Champions League was, obviously, but still got to go out and win these matches, and got the job done tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. John, when I was with him in the week, said that he was either going to ask Emery in the pre-game or the post-game about the importance of the top 2, because Villa haven't really recognised it. They've always just mentioned the top 8. And we all know that bypasses the playoff round, but top 2 gives you the home advantage in the second leg in all of the knockout games up until the final, obviously at a neutral venue. So finishing top 2 is important for that, because I think that's a benefit for Villa to be in the second leg at home in the second leg, in those games. But obviously that's a plenty while away, but every win absolutely counts and every point counts. So Villa just to keep ticking them off and professionally going through the motions, it felt like to me is a good thing. We will touch on the atmosphere in a little bit. Harvey says Malen still bald, Kendrick still bald. Still bald?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Can you imagine, that tweet that does the rounds of Alan Shearer with hair? Are you familiar with that? And it's like, what if he rocks up to match of the day one day and he's got a full head of hair? Imagine that happened for this. You just came on with a full head of hair. What would we do?
I have spoken to me. I've told you before. I've probably told the listeners on here before about, I do think I need to experiment with hats.
Okay.
But I've said to my wife, well, why do I just stop at hats? Why don't I just get, you can get some really good wigs now, can't you? Not like a kind of an old toupee that would fly off in the wind. I don't know. What would you do if I did rock? I'm not going to go for like Manchester United 5 wins in a row. But what would you do if I just rocked up with just like a nice little trendy haircut?
I don't know.
Would you say anything? I don't think it's. I think it'd be left. I think you and all the viewers. I think you're too subtle. I think it'd just go unsaid, or you just wouldn't mention it.
We would do an entire episode about hair if that happened. Come on, you know what we're like here. Let's try and stick to the football, shall we, if we can? What little of it there was, I thought it was a really weird game. Certainly the first half an hour, and I don't like to say this and I don't like to say this part either about it being, it's a hobby, isn't it, ultimately, football? And I know it's more than that, but if you really boil it down to this is something you do in your spare time, it's for fun, mostly. It's so boring. Some of it's so boring. And any other hobby, the point I'm getting to, you just turn it off. If I watch a film for half an hour and it's crap, I turn it off. But for Villa, you don't do that. But the first 20 minutes or so was so dull, so boring. And I think the atmosphere is a part of that. And the opposition and the level and everything.
You're just such a modern, entitled fan, though, aren't you? Entertain me, mummy.
No, but come on. Some of the stuff that we see is so dull sometimes. And it sparked into life when Rodgers had that little moment where he should have shot, and then he shot from the edge of the area not long after. And obviously we scored in the first half. But up until then, it was so dull, so slow.
What was he doing, Rodgers, with that? Just get a shot away.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to, you're not Van der Ven, mate. Just get your shot away. But yeah, I felt that we lacked, and maybe I'm kind of Team John McGinn this week because he's signed a new contract. But I felt we lacked that intensity. Who was going to go and take the game and say, right, let's get this one by half time? Don't think there were signs that Sancho and Rodgers potentially were going to be those men, but I thought the first 10 minutes, these aren't very good. We can go and get this game won fairly quickly. And then it got a little bit, I don't know, scrappy and scruffy in places.
Very stop-start, wasn't it, the game?
Yeah, and then it gave them a little bit more encouragement. I mean, they were never going to be that ambitious, but it gave them encouragement to the extent that they did have a couple of chances. Scoring that goal when we did, I think it was just kind of crucial. That meant we could just go and do whatever we needed in the second half then.
Yeah, I agree. And we've said it often before that we've seen this plenty of times that an Emery game plan can be quite boring, slow, methodical, and all of a sudden we jump into gear or whatever, and we know we can do that. It's just frustrating that we don't come out flying out the blocks and we go, oh, well, let's score 2 early goals and everyone's lovely and happy. Just as a total side point, some of the emojis, or lots of the emojis, don't come on after onto the comments earlier. I was at Villa Park and Gesson is the worst player I've ever seen. Clock dash turquoise dash looking up colon. I don't even know what that emoji is, but that's how it's come through. So that's nice. Gesson, quickly, before you joined, a lot of the comments like, what is he? Like, he's raw, is this? Is that just that he's rubbish? Not seeing much, are we?
I have used the polite word "raw," haven't I, in the last couple of podcasts? In a, I don't know. I was chatting to the fella next to me tonight, and he's like, no, "Give him, you've got to be patient. You've got to give him the first year to see how he settles in." And I don't know. This is probably really damning of me when I have tried to see the positives. That I'd have Leon Bailey in his worst season over him. At the moment, and you're not going, my neighbour at the game was like, yeah, but Bailey, Bailey wouldn't have his work rate, he wouldn't track back and help out defensively. And I said, well, yeah, Bailey wouldn't have given the ball away that many times to have to go and win it back. I don't know. To me, I'd prefer to see him as a wild card substitute for the last 20 minutes in the original kind of Zaniolo, Duran, Agents of Chaos role, yeah. I think, rather than being a starter. But I'm not Unai Emery. Unai Emery's picked him more often than not in the starting lineup this season. And I think the stat that I saw yesterday or something was it, we were only 3 points worse off than we were at this stage last season in the Premier League. We've won 3 out of our 4 Europa League games. Okay, we're out of the League Cup, but, that's standard. Yeah, he's not. If we want to establish ourselves amongst the elite top 6 year on year, he certainly isn't, in my mind, a top 6 starter yet.
100%.
I think that's probably the most diplomatic way I can put it.
Is he a right winger? Is that the problem, that he's not even playing in his right position? The natural question there is then, what is his position? But I don't know the answer to that either.
I'm not sure what his position is.
Yeah.
I mean, none of this is a lack of effort.
He works very hard, and defensively, his stats are good. He does track back. I think I'm not putting Cash's good form down to everyone gets on, but I think that does help. When we did talk about that early on in the season, that they look like a good combination. But going forward, offensively, Gesson offers basically nothing, which is a bit of a problem when you're our chosen right winger pretty much every single game. I think in the commentary today, they've described Malen as a player that can fall through the cracks of a profile that you don't quite know what he is. And he seems to be that kind of second striker rather than an out-and-out number 9 or a wide forward. And I kind of feel like Gesson is probably described as the same, that I don't know whether he'd be a sole number 9. I don't think he's a right winger. Could he be a left winger? I don't know. He's not going to all of a sudden change his career and be a central midfielder, or is he like a right wing back? Is that what he is? He's not very good going forward, but he could be the right back if Matty Cash wasn't there. Like, you know what I mean? He scored lots of goals for Nice last year, so he's not that either. But the fact that we don't really know what he is, despite playing lots of minutes, is very odd.
Is he a last minute? Is he a last 10 minute centre forward?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm hoping we'll look.
And it's anyone's guess.
And yeah, good. I think we did that joke signing day 1.
We've got to have some reason for it being there, haven't we?
Hopefully, we look back on these conversations in a year's time, going, "Oh, he did just start slowly, and there was a good player in there," because got no other choice, have we? Let's talk about Harvey Elliott a little bit, which is bizarre. We keep talking about a player that doesn't even play for us, but that's the point. Again, the comments that I was reading before you joined were, if he's not even getting a kick in this game, does that give more weight to the conspiracy of the appearance fee not wanting to be activated? I don't know what to talk about because we've done it before. You'll just say what you said last time.
Did you see it popped up on some social media? I don't know what it was, whether it was Instagram or something, the other day. John McGinn had done this advert for. Is there a new corporate deal with that's
a crypto bank or something?
Say again.
Like is it a crypto bank or something?
No, it was about some corporate hospitality thing, and he was talking about the seats and how.
Yeah.
Is that the one?
Yeah, like you can put a message of support into the seat stitched in or something.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I get the theory now that it's like a Harvey Elliott hospitality package now, where you get to sit right amongst it. You get to sit really near the manager. You get to hang around with the players. You sometimes even get a little
Get all the
kick around
gear.
with them
Yeah.
before the game. This is elite Elliott hospitality. So that, and tonight he even was able to leave a couple of minutes early. He must have had something back down the tunnel in the hospitality lounge, because he's able to leave 2 minutes before
Pre-ordered his cocktail.
the final whistle. Yeah, that's what it was. I mean, we know that we're
I don't deal with riffraff now.
So you could just see. The only time I ever really notice him now is when we've used up our last sub, or we're very close to using up our last sub. Because his coat goes back on, his head drops, and you think, right, see you next week. Same time, same place. There's something going on.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is, because, I mean, I must admit, I never paid a massive amount of attention to Harvey Elliott's pre-Aston Villa career. I know that, from the bits that he's done with the kind through the England age groups and the bits that he's done around the edges at Liverpool, there's a talented player in there. But I never... Has he got anything? Is there any kind of previous about having a bad attitude or anything? I'm not really.
I don't think so. No,
known that.
No.
So it does add weight to the theory that there's something untoward going on.
How does that work though? Is Harvey Elliott aware of that? Is he signed with the? Yeah, but you won't play much before Christmas. Is that a thing? Would he even have come to us in that case? Has this been something that's kind of come out of nowhere, and it's actually that there isn't a Emery didn't really want him, and it was a panic thing, and he will just go back to Liverpool in January? Because and deadline day, admittedly, wasn't particularly spectacular anyway, or the transfer window, I should say, wasn't spectacular. Elliott was the one that we were all pretty excited about. There's the option to get him permanently. You only got to play 10 games. That'll happen pretty quickly, and he'll be our player, right? He's one to be excited about. So has he signed thinking, I'm going to play, oh no, I'm not, that's a problem, I need to leave? Or was he aware that, yeah, you'll come, but you're not going to play much to begin with because we actually can't afford to pay for you yet? Like, surely he doesn't come to us.
How's he better off being on our bench doing nothing rather than being on Liverpool's bench and actually getting some games occasionally? I don't think Liverpool obviously invested heavily over the summer in attacking.
He probably would have got some minutes, to be fair.
So, but I think he wouldn't have been short of takers, would he? Do you know what I mean?
No.
There'd have been another half a dozen Premier League clubs who would have taken him, I'd have thought, in a heartbeat. So there's just something weird that's gone on. I know some people in the comments saying he's not an Emery signing. I don't think things get sign off without. I don't. I'm not saying he's first choice on top of Emery's wish list, but I don't think he just. Emery's not a panic buy manager. He's not just accepting. I know it was deadline day and it was pushed close to the actual deadline, but he's not going to have a player in his dressing room without having done plenty of due diligence on him. That's just not the Emery way. So I don't know what's gone on between the last day of the window and the last 2 months, but I thought it was just a kind of bedding in period, and he spoke quite openly about him not being, probably being too adventurous when he wanted him to protect the ball better and that kind of thing. But listen, Morgan Rogers is the most adventurous without protecting the ball. Do you know what I mean? Morgan Rogers is always on the half turn, like marauding forward, and often giving the ball away. And this is not a dig at Morgan Rogers, but I'm just saying, if that's his main criticism of Harvey Elliott, then I'm sure Elliott's a disciplined, kind of good enough learner to listen to that and to crack on. But
weird.
He hasn't played tonight, but we have played a second string team largely, and we've gone and won the game. So you're probably a little bit unfair if we spend too much longer talking about Harvey. Yeah. 15 players on the pitch who have helped us win that game.
Just quickly, one other that didn't play. Garcia as well. Another just weird situation, and it's the right back thing of Nedeljkovic and Garcia, and I'm sure there's somebody else that I'm forgetting as well. Is Cash the one, and now he looks better, and it's always been a weird position. he was injured, and then he was back, and then he was gone again with no real explanation. Like it's weird that these things happen. That players do seem to fall out of favour or are quickly. Oh, you look decent. Oh, actually, 3 months later, no, you're not. See you later. Like that. That's odd as well.
Do you reckon they're all, Matty Cash is a kind of top class golfer. Do you reckon they're all these right backs who've come to threaten him are just kind of all piled up in a broom cupboard somewhere, and he's wrapped a 9-iron around the head,
Allegedly.
Yeah, I don't think that's happened, and I don't know why you even told me to say that now, but I don't know. I mean, somebody mentioned, it might have been my lad mentioned Garcia on the way back, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm aware of that species, the lesser spotted Garcia." So I don't know what. I mean, what's the injury he's supposed to have?
I don't even know. Nothing like major.
Was even asked about. When John does his press conference updates, and
they all get so few questions. They want to waste one on Garcia. I think more important things to talk about. It's mad. All right, let's talk about the players that actually played for us. Who's your standouts? Do you want to do like an actual man of the match? Have you thought about it enough? Because it's one of them where
can you pick them and I just agree or disagree?
Well, I was about to say it was one of those where like a few players just played all right. Like I thought Conser was pretty good throughout. I thought Bogard was good. Obviously Maatsen and obviously Malen's is only a penalty, but we've struggled with penalties, so I'll give it him. They've scored the goals. There's not really like anyone's. I think John's gave a couple of 8s and some 7s, and that's like, yeah, I'm not even sure there's many 8s to be honest. It's just like a nice, steady, everyone was okay kind of game. I thought Rogers looked better as well. I don't know why he didn't shoot in that first period where he danced his way through. Yeah, it's just a few decent players. Comments there: Martinez, Rogers, Bogard. A few shots for Tielemans, to be fair. He's good, any Tielemans. Kind of forget, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, should we just give him? He's kicked the ball 6 times. He's played 20 minutes. Should we just make him player of the season again and just be done with it? I mean, I think it's the taking part that counts. I'd be happy to award it collectively. For a job well done. Somebody just saying down there about that right flank. We've obviously had a bit of a moan about Gesson and Lindelof playing right back. Makes the Matty Gash redemption arc even more impressive. And I just thought today it was one of those ones where where Gesson and Lindelof meant down that right flank meant there was no threat really coming down that right flank. I think Anana and Bogart, both good players, but they're not necessarily going to be the ones who advance the ball through midfield. Anana, when he can get that stride going a little bit, so there wasn't going to be much coming that side. So it needed that kind of Sancho, Maatsen, Rogers 3 to try and spark things. And I think that the 5 minutes or the 10 minutes before half time leading up to that goal, it probably was only ever going to come from those 3. It did eventually. But I wouldn't say those 3 were particularly, it wasn't an emphatic performance from those 3, really.
It just felt very routine. There's a comment there from Millsy. It says, considering we just won 2-0 with 67% possession against a team who's sitting a low block, this is such a negative show. It's just standard. I never thought we wouldn't win. They're crap. I hoped it was going to be one of them 5-0s. So yeah, 2-0 is a bit like, all right, we've done the bare minimum to get through this. That period you mentioned there before the goal, that's it really. A 5 or 10 minute spell of a few half chances, and we go, okay, there's the goal. We get a penalty that I don't even think was a penalty in the first place. We actually score one. Happy days, 2-0. Let's all go home. Let's go home and get safe. Everyone's come away from this mostly with this has been okay actually in the end. And that's standard. Like, I'm not going to be jumping around my room going, oh yeah, we've won. What a brilliant performance and an amazing result. I expected us to win. I expect us to win most games in this competition. My standards are very high for this team now.
Yeah, I think it comes back to the fact that we've got a good enough team and a good enough squad now, and even our reserves can go and win a game at a good level of European competition, even when we're not at our absolute best. So, like I said, I thought it was ultimately a routine victory that we didn't really need to extend ourselves any further than that. I think the fact that we did score on the brink of half time, and Martinez has had to make a couple of good saves, so it could have been a tougher night for us. Just a word on Martinez. He tried the salary repeat pass again, didn't he? So I'm glad we got away with that. I don't know whether he was trying to aim for Maatsen, but he blamed whichever teammate he failed to find. But then he redeemed himself with a little bit of fancy footwork to leave one of their strikers on his arse. Speaking of their strikers and their players on their arse, the time wasting was absolutely ridiculous. And I've got a theory that it was an agreement so that they could waste so much time that the match wouldn't finish till 1 a.m. and any of the protesters and stuff would have dispersed by then because they'd got bored waiting for it to finish. Because I don't know why even at 2-0 down, they were still throwing themselves to the floor.
I know, it's weird.
And there was one moment where in the second half where one of their attackers has gone down injured, but I think he must have got his bearings wrong because he's gone down injured off the pitch. And I'm thinking, oh, that's good. He's beyond the byline. At least it won't stop. And then I looked right, and a defender collapsed in the opposite penalty area. So he must have thought, oh no, I'd better get to the turf as well. And it was just so, I don't know, just so stop start. And listen, I'm not saying I'm not trying to be on a slot where the teams have to come and play the way that we want them to play, so we could roll them over. But having had a couple of chances, I thought they'd have been a tiny little bit more ambitious. And even if they weren't going to be ambitious, I don't think they needed to kind of spoil it and slow it down quite to that extent.
Yeah, because you should know that you can get at Villa. Like, we've seen enough that if you kind of trouble them a little bit, we can be a little bit weak. And a few comments are going past that I can't scroll back on the on-screen view that I've got here, that you got to count every Europe win you can. They don't always come around. You got to savour them, and I totally get that. But if we're talking about, as John was, you've got to go out and win this competition, or at least go as far as you can. Like I say, I expected us to go through the motions, and I think the way the game planned out, in the way that you're talking about it, being very start, being very unambitious from the opposition, a feeling that we're just going through the motions, the atmosphere, it felt like a training game, or like a testimonial or a pre-season friendly. Like, I didn't feel that jeopardy on it. And granted, I watched it on TV, I wasn't there, but I just got the vibe of like, yeah, pre-season friendly is the best way to describe it for me. That's how I felt watching it. I feel like we're going to win. Okay. I know some people that are die-hard Villa and everything, blood, guts and thunder, probably don't like that attitude, but I was just like, yeah, we've won and I expected us to. On to Bournemouth.
Yeah, it very much was like a testimony. I thought it was like a reserve team. I mean, it was our reserve team, so I suppose it did feel like a reserve team game. I did obviously the circumstances going into the game was always going to make it a weird night when there's no away fans in the stadium. I did kind of like the little bit of kind of like banter, like, kind of empty seats, my lord, and whatever. Well, I'm just trying to think what else was singing? Shall we sing a song for you? And all that kind of thing. That did amuse me. It felt empty. It was empty. I was worrying tonight whether I'd got to set off early and get there half an hour early and stuff like that. But there's no traffic there on the way. You could get to the loo, and not that I did, but you get a pint and whatever without queuing at half time. It did feel like it was something other than a first team fixture in Europe. It wasn't the European nights that we've dreamed of, to be honest.
And I think we spoke about this on other shows as well, and we don't want to get too spoiled here, but because we've had the Champions League as well, the Europa League, and so there was a comment just then that, well, we should have beat Go Ahead Eagles and we didn't. So I'm fully aware you can slip up in this competition, but we all know that this competition is a step down on the Champions League. This fixture specifically, the young boys won in a few weeks' time. We played them before. We know they're not very good. It's at home. I'm not expecting that to be a 42,000 sellout and it'd be the best atmosphere ever, because we've experienced the Champions League. If we'd gone through the competitions in order, and this was like a step up from the Conference League, but we hadn't experienced the Champions League, I think these games would feel more special. And that does feel really spoiled, and every game is important. I wasn't there, you were, and if the way you're describing it is like a reserve testimonial friendly, Is that Europa League? Is that what it is to Villa? Like, we should treat it better than that, but it's just how you feel.
Yeah, but listen, Dan, you know, we want to try and stave off this sense of entitlement, but any cup competition, you know, we'd all be kind of happy to see the team parading the FA Cup around the Bullring, or you know, showing off the League Cup from the balcony of the town hall. But in the early rounds,
yeah,
nobody feels that buzz, nobody feels that excitement. So you know, sometimes football and winning, you know, this does sound entitled, but sometimes it does become routine.
Yeah.
And ultimately, Villa have blocked out the noise. Not that there was much noise in the stadium, but blocked out the noise and managed to produce a professional performance. So I tell you what did make me laugh at the end. I mean, God bless him, but Amadou and Nana giving it the big fist pump to. There was probably about 37 people left in the whole end, I think, by the time he was giving it the fist pump. It's a bit like I don't know, it's like a kind of local radio DJ at a kid's party. You know, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Whoa. But, Amadou, there's nobody here. So that was a bit, that was a bit awkward. But yeah, I'm just glad that I don't like that Aston Villa have been used. I'm not going to get. Don't worry, I'm not going to get too deep into this. But don't like that Aston Villa's name's being used as a bit of a kind of political pawn in all of this. Really,
yeah.
It doesn't. It leaves a bad taste in the mouth, and I'm glad that we've got the match won. The fans who wanted to be there all felt safe enough to be there or whatever, and those who watched it on the telly and stuff, we've seen our team win the game, and hopefully, you know, we can all kind of move on from Aston Villa's involvement in, if you like, because Aston Villa's unwitting involvement in it.
Yeah, we're just involved in this, that a computer drew us out against this team at complete random. It could have been any other. And it's nice that the new format means that this game does not have a reverse fixture. We're done with this now. We can move past it. We showed up. We won the game. Professional job. We didn't have to get out of first gear. I'm very standard, on to the next one. And that's just how I feel about it. And I think the way that the game has been talked about and the atmosphere and everything does contribute towards my feelings towards it. The time wasting, the lack of atmosphere, the just poor showing. Like, I just don't think it was anything to shout about, to be honest. And I'll be more excited about future games. I'm certain of that. Bournemouth that's where my attention goes to straight away. Like, we'll do a preview with John. Get your thoughts in the mailbag. We'll talk about that next. We'll do a post-match show. That'll be you and me again on Sunday. And it's, you know, obviously an international break is coming up, but you just want Villa to keep winning. Just win as many games as you can, and we'll all be happy.
Yeah, and you know, perhaps we should be happier because we've actually scored a penalty.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it might be the softest penalty that
it weren't a penalty.
I mean, has Contra actually gone down yet? Because it took him about 47 hours to. You know, when he's buying fouls in defensive areas, normally on the floor before anybody's come near him. But you know,
have you seen it back? Have you seen a replay or anything?
I saw it briefly since I got in. Yeah,
I still don't even know what the contact was.
No, I actually thought in the ground it looked really soft, and I thought, no. They went to VAR. They'd have seen something. Then I watched it back, and I thought, I don't know what's going on there. But I do like the old decoy because it was Morgan Rogers holding the ball, wasn't it?
Yeah.
For 3 or 4 minutes while it got done. And the thing that struck me as well, I've never noticed it before. I'm sure it happens. Well, I say I've never noticed it. I think I noticed it for the one that Watkins fluffed down the whole end. But was that in Europe as well?
Sorry, it needed to cough. Can't remember.
Anyway, seeing Malen, I just wonder, you're preparing to take a penalty in front of the whole end, and they have a close-up on your face on the big screen.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
It must be weird if you just kind of glance up before you're about to take it and you see your own kind of
all these little psychological things happen. If I was that penalty taker, I'd be like, next time, don't put me up on that big screen because I've distracted myself with the spot on the end of my nose that I've seen, and now I'm thinking about that instead.
Well, it's bad enough for me, like when I'm doing a rotor or something or some bit of boring work logistics, and I catch my reflection in the screen on my laptop, and that puts me off. I think, ooh.
From a rotor. Oh no, the pressure.
Who's that bald hero? But But no, he tucked it away. He tucked it away nicely. I thought when the keeper went the same way, I thought, oh God, here we go again.
Yeah.
But yeah, any more?
No, speaking of bald heroes, a fella called Craig accosted me in Sainsbury's who was bald and a hero because he said he really loves the podcast. I'm sure he won't mind that I pointed that fact out. I think he was the manager.
That he's bald or that he loves the podcast.
Well,
both
either
really embarrassing things.
Take it whichever way you like. Yeah, I think he was the manager of the Sainsbury's in Kiddie. I think I spotted on his name tag, but I was walking around. I was actually sending you a voice message, and he heard me speaking in the aisle and was like, "Oh." He's like, I heard the voice and I recognised it. Are you from the Villa podcast? I was like, yeah. So we had a little chat and yeah, it was really nice. So Craig, if you're listening, thank you very much. Just quickly, a question from Zach. Your thoughts on Matt's accidental fart/throat noise on the Spurs vlog? Are you aware of this? I've not spoken to you about it.
I think I saw it in some comments on maybe on the audio version. Which
it was. I'm pretty certain it was the Spurs vlog, and there was a clip, and someone put a time code and said, "Did somebody fart then?" And I thought, well, obviously, I'd like to think neither of us did, but I went to check it, and there was a noise that sounded like that. And I think you were talking, and between words, you had like a little gurgle in your throat or something, and it was that. I'll try and find it for you if you're interested. Put it in 1,000 special.
Yeah, I mean, if next time I break wind in a public environment, if we can blame that again,
the throat again. Yeah. I'm done, mate. I'm done if you are.
Just one final thing, just a shout out to our mate and colleague and John's boss. He's not. I don't think he's your boss anymore. Steve Wollaston, who's our mate and our colleague. He's a Wolves fan, but he's got a soft spot for Villa anyway. He's been in the Villa press box with us. He's been on tour with Villa and me to the States a few years ago. So he's not been very well, but he's on the mend. And I don't know if he is really, really bored. I have given him better podcast recommendations than this. But if he is really, really bored, he might have got to the 33rd minute of this. But if you're listening, Wooly, get well soon, mate. We love you loads. So take care.
Yeah, I'm actually not messaging privately, so this will just do. Get well soon, Steve. We'll speak soon, I guess.
Just send him the time code on a WhatsApp. Yeah, just say 32 minutes, 32 seconds.
No. Tell him like 20, and then he'll get a couple of ads as well. So always think.
Yeah, this shout out to Steve Wollaston is brought to you by NordVPN.
What an absolute F Pro you are, Matt Kendrick, at this podcasting game. You can get 20% off F Pro, which is a game app, Matt, for children's football training, step overs and first touches and stuff. You link it to an app. Go and check out their website because there's some really good stuff on there. And NordVPN as well. You can get, I think, 4 months for free off the 2-year plan. All the links are in the description down below for our sponsors. So thank you to those for their continued support as well.
Yeah, very good. That's
all right,
very good.
Not bad. Right, we'll call it a night there. Matt, thank you for joining as per. Thanks to all the live chat who got involved. It was subscribers only, so I'm sure you can imagine why, to try and keep it away from non-football matters. So thanks to everyone for keeping it pretty sensible. Me and John and I will be back on tomorrow night for the Bournemouth fan zone. So if you want to get involved and share your thoughts on that game, there is a link to the mailbag in the comments down below on whatever platform you're watching or listening to this on. Give us your predictions, opinions, and all that as well, and we'll talk through those on Friday. And it'll be post-match for us Sundays.
Yeah, I'm back on Sunday. So if you want to pop your cherry comments in the...
Wow. Okay. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye-bye.